Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. Today I'm going to be going over the brand new gadgets that have fully been revealed, and I'm going to let you know the top 8 of those gadgets that you want to focus on buying. You don't need to waste your time with any of the others, because I'm just going to give you guys the best ones that you can use to win more often once they come out. Real quick, before we get into that, I actually did make a new club in Brawl Stars very recently, so if you want to go check that out, the name is Afterlife, and here is the clan tag. I would really appreciate it if you join. We just have 3 members right now. We're planning on building. Obviously, you need a certain amount of members before other people will start joining, so I'd really appreciate it if you would come and help our clan grow. And I'll tell you what, for the first 5 people who join, I will give you all Elder as sort of a token that you were the first ones there right when it started. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to see more content about the update, just like this guide, right when it comes out. So the first gadget I'm going to talk about coming in at number 8 is Bo's Super Totem. That lets you drop this little totem thing, has about 1,000 health and a fairly small radius, but then when any of your teammates are within the range of this totem, you actually start charging up your super. So essentially you just get Daryl's ability, but on every single brawler, and I guess if you are Daryl, you'll get like double supercharge. But I think this gadget is going to be very, very useful because in modes that have a lot of grass, or you're not playing too aggressively on like maybe gem grab or bounty, it can be really easy for your team just to all sort of hide back near your spawn point, get near this super totem that is essentially permanent unless your opponents take it out, and then just charge your supers up really, really quickly so you can go in with a combined push, all 3 of you with your supers. You can use some combo supers like use Tara and Frank at the same time and just pull off a bunch of amazing combos that you're able to do consistently because you have this super totem. Next up is 8-Bit's cheat cartridge, which lets you instantly teleport back to your damage booster within a range of 12 tiles. It then does destroy that damage booster, but it's a free teleport, so like I think that's a fair trade. And this is just going to be so useful for escaping and running away from encounters that you really can't run away from because you're so slow. So I think with a lot of practice you can get good at placing your damage booster nearby but like behind a wall, so that way if you ever get into a bad encounter that you're not fast enough to run away from, you can just quickly use that gadget, which you can 3 times a match, which is actually very, very good, and just teleport away and keep yourself alive. I think it's also going to be really good in modes like Gem Grab and Brawl Ball, where you can just throw down your turret either near your spawn to help get quicker movement if you're holding gems, or if you're trying to defend when your opponent is trying to kick the ball into your goal, or just let you move up faster if you're trying to be on the offense and get closer to their side without having to wait very, very slowly to walk with 8-Bit. Next up is Tara's Psychic Enhancer gadget, which lets you see all enemies, even if they're in bushes or invisible, for 5 seconds on your entire screen. So this is just Bo's Circling Eagle, except it's temporary, but covers the entire map that you can see. This is going to be so good in maps with a lot of grass. Like Bo's Circling Eagle, star power is already super broken on Snake Prairie. I made this whole video about exactly how to optimize the use of that and that stuff, but it's mainly so good because it's the only thing that can let you get increased vision in the game. And now with Tara's Psychic Enhancer, you have another option for scouting out your opponents in a bunch of grass. And even though it is temporary, it still gives you that edge on your opponents 3 times per match. So I think this is going to see a lot of play on very specific maps, and on the specific maps it's going to be very, very good. At number 5 is Ems with her friendzoner gadget. This lets you send out a wave that pushes away all enemies from you and deals 500 damage at the same time. And this is a pretty large range. Like, you can get them pretty far away from you. And the reason this is so good is just because Ems deals so much damage at that medium range. So if you ever walk a bit too close to grass, or if a Daryl or a Bull comes charging in at you, you can just use your gadget, push them back to the exact range that you want, and start dealing 3 ticks of damage with every shot and just melt them. So I know Jean has a very, very similar gadget that does pushback and does healing instead of damage, but it's so much better for Ems because it puts your enemies exactly where you want them. And personally, I love using Ems, so I may have put this a bit higher than maybe it actually should be, but I think that it's going to be very, very good once people start to get good with it, because it really just puts your enemies in the optimal position for you to take them out immediately, all while dealing an extra 500 damage in the process. Then we got Poco's Tuning Fork. Once again, Poco is stuck with a very, very amazing healing ability. Now you have Decapo and Tuning Fork at the same time. Poco's just going to be insane. So when you activate this gadget, you have a little radius of effect, and if your opponents are standing within it, then you heal 500 health a second for 5 seconds. So that's 2,500 health per person that is in this range. So that means over your entire team, you can heal 7,500 health in the span of just 5 seconds, 3 times a match. Now this is definitely more than all the other healing gadgets, so that's why I put this all the way up at the top. And then you have Poco with his Decapo star power, adding that additional healing. This is just an insane amount of healing feeling right now that you're going to be able to spam over and over again in the match. I think it's going to see a lot of play because Poco's just a very, very good support brawler now. One of pretty much the only support brawlers in the game. I guess you could argue Jean's also a decent support brawler, but Poco is definitely the best one right now after these gadgets come out. Then at the top 3, we've got Spike first with popping pincushion. This lets you shoot 3 waves of those individual spikes, each dealing 520 damage, and you shoot 10 of them per wave. So theoretically, there should be a total of 30 spikes that you shoot, but actually in the dev build, the first wave of spikes actually did double damage, which I think is not supposed to happen. But even assuming that doesn't happen, that means for each wave, since you're shooting 10 spikes, each doing 520 damage, that's 5,200 damage per wave, and you get to shoot 3 waves with 1 use of the gadget. So with just 1 button press, you can output 15,600 damage, and that's in the worst case scenario, assuming that first wave doesn't do double damage like it does now. So if you go on the safe and heist, that means with just 1 button press, you're taking out a third of the safe's health because it has a total of 45,000, and the ability to do alone, you're going to be taking out the entire safe, all 45,000 health, just with those 3 shots. And then if you just wait 5 more seconds, you literally win the game with 2 gadgets just like that. Now in modes where you don't have to take out a giant thing like heist or siege, it is definitely not as good because against smaller targets, it's not going to hit all the spikes off, but it is still going to deal a decent amount of damage, and that's why I put it up so high, is that it's going to be super broken in very specific modes, heist and siege specifically, if it doesn't get nerfed, and it's still going to be pretty decent everywhere else. Coming in at number 2, we have Crow's defense booster gadget, and for this he actually gets a shield reducing 60% of the damage he gets for a solid 3 seconds. Now this is really, really good because it combines very well with his super. He can just jump in somewhere, be super aggro, and then immediately use his gadget and reduce a lot of the damage that he's going to be taking by throwing himself in the middle of a fight. This reminds me a lot of something you all well know, the Steel Hoops star power on Daryl that was recently just nerfed into oblivion. Although then it did get buffed a bit, and now it's actually kind of decent, so I shouldn't say that. But this is sort of like that, but pre-nerf, because you can activate it whenever you want, so you can just use it right after you land from your super, and you'll get that extra shield when you most need it, when you're in the middle of all that damage. So I think this is going to be very, very useful in a lot of modes and might actually start to make Crow kind of competitively viable. And then coming in as the top gadget, it is active noise cancelling for Frank. When you use this, all stuns, slows, and knockbacks do not affect you. And in addition to that, if you're already stunned as it is, you can immediately clear that right when you use this gadget. So it's not even like you have to predict a stun or a knockback or anything like that. You can literally use this reactively as well to get rid of it. So you can prevent things like Shelly's super from pushing you back. You can prevent Spike's super from slowing you down. You can prevent BB from ever pushing you back. And this is super useful in, for example, Brawl Ball is very, very good as you get towards the goal. If you get rid of your ball and then use the gadget, since you can't use the gadget while you're holding the ball, I didn't mention that earlier in the video, but do know that that is a thing. So if you just quickly throw the ball against the wall, use your gadget, pick up the ball again, and then walk towards the goal, they can't really stop you. BB can't knock you back. Shelly can't knock you back. There's not much they can do. Now, I'm not really sure if Jean's super counts as a knockback. It's more of like a pull thing. I guess they're sort of knocking you back, but if it cancels the effects of Jean's super too, then there's basically nothing they can do. And I think that's just so broken, and that's going to allow for a lot of versatility and a lot of surprise for your opponent. Like, they're gonna think they have you covered, and then when they see that you just use your gadget and then for all of a sudden they don't stun you anymore, then they're gonna be panicking to see how they can defend you, and that just gives you a huge advantage over your opponents. I think this is going to be very good in a lot of different modes, and people are gonna sort of have to counterplay against it. Like, if Jean's super is basically the only thing that works, then you're gonna need to run Jean in pretty much all of your team comps, and if not, then just make sure you're running your own Frank with active noise canceling, so that way you can also be super broken in addition to your opponent. But that's gonna wrap up this list for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and a comment down below if you did, and like I said, please hit the subscribe and the bell. It helps me so much, and it should help you as well whenever I post more guides related to Brawl Stars and about this update. A lot of information is going to be coming over these next few weeks, so make sure to hit that bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video about that. But that's all for today, guys, so see you later. Make the streams louder.